Audio Jungle.
Welcome to today's episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm Faiso, and today we're diving deep into an important yet often misunderstood topic, hypochondriasis. Some of you may have heard the term, but how much do we really know about it? Joining me today are Dr. Esteban, a healthcare professional, and Dr. Dumalay, a clinical psychologist, Kanyas, a patient advocate, and Hermoso, who will share her personal journey with hypochondriasis. Let's jump right in. Dr. Esteban, could you start by giving us a clear definition of hypochondriasis for our listener?
Certainly. So, hypochondriasis or health anxiety is when someone has an excessive preoccupation with having a serious illness despite medical reassurance. It can be a chronic condition and cause a significant distress, leading to frequent doctor visits or even avoiding healthcare altogether due to fear.
Thanks, Dr. Esteban. Dr. Dumalay, from a psychologist's perspective, what drives this kind of anxiety?
It often stems from underlying anxiety disorders. People with hypochondriasis interpret normal bodily sensations, like a headache or a muscle twitch, as a sign of severe illness. They might seek constant reassurance, but the anxiety returns quickly. Cognitive distortions play a major role here, where the mind catastrophizes small symptoms.
Kanyas, as a patient advocate, you've worked closely with people who struggle with health anxiety. Can you tell us how it impacts their day-to-day life?
Absolutely. Hypochondriasis can be all-consuming. If some people withdraw from social activities because they're constantly worried about their health, it can strain relationships, work life, and even lead to financial issues from excessive medical testing.
And Hermosa, you've lived this experience. Can you share your story?
Yes, of course. For years, I believe I have various serious illnesses. I'd go from doctor to doctor, searching for answers, but no one could find anything wrong. It was exhausting. Every headache, every stomach pain made me panic. It wasn't until I sought therapy that realized my health anxiety was the real issue, not the symptoms I was worried about.
Thank you for sharing that, Hermosa. It's so important for people to share personal experiences like yours. Let's move on to the core of today's discussions. How do we raise awareness about hypochondriasis? And how can we reduce the stigma surrounding it? Dr. Dumalay, what do you think are the first steps?
Education is key. People need to understand that health anxiety is a legitimate mental health issue, not just someone being dramatic or attention-seeking. We can start by integrating this topic into general mental health campaigns and making resources accessible to those who might not recognize they have the condition.
Kanyas, what role do patient advocates like yourself play in these campaigns?
We work to ensure that the voices of those suffering from hypochondriasis are heard. It's about creating platforms where people can share their experience without judgment. And it's also about pushing for better access to mental health care and support, especially for those who don't yet realize they need it.
Let's talk treatment. Dr. Esteban, what are some common approaches to managing hypochondriasis from a medical standpoint?
The first step is reassuring patients while avoiding unnecessary tests. It's also important to acknowledge their concerns but also to guide them toward psychological support. CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy is highly effective for treating health anxiety as it helps patients challenge their catastrophic thinking patterns.
And Dr. Dumalay, can you expand on how CBT works for health anxieties?
Sure, CBT involves helping patients identify and change distorted thoughts related to their health. We teach them to differentiate between actual symptoms and anxiety-driven fears. Gradually, they learn to cope with uncertainty and reduce their need for constant reassurance.
Hermosa, how has therapy helped you?
Therapy has been life-changing for me. I still have moments of anxiety, but I now have tools to manage them. I learned to trust my body again, and I don't immediately jump to worst-case scenarios when I feel unwell.
As we wrap up, I'd like to ask each of you to share one final thoughts for our listener. What should they take away from today's episode?
Hypochondriasis is a serious issue, and if you or someone you know is struggling, please seek help. This kind of illness or issue is not something to be embarrassed about.
Recognizing health anxiety early can make a big difference. The sooner you address it, the better your outcomes will be.
Don't suffer in silence. There's a community of people who understand what you're going through. Reach out and know you're not alone.
Recovery is possible. I'm living proof. It's not easy, but with the right support, you can regain control over your life.
Thank you all for such a meaningful conversation. We hope today's episode shed light on hypochondriasis and encourage anyone listening to seek help if they need it. Don't forget to check out the resources we link in the show notes and join us next time on Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. Stay well, guys!